Sometimes things need a little bit of a refresh, and village halls and the activities that they offer are no exception. Hi everyone, I'm Johnny Thompson and welcome once again to the Village Halls podcast, sponsored by Allied Westminster, the UK's largest specialist provider of village hall insurance and the home of Village Guard. Every dog has its day, as they say, and sadly, some village halls out there are no longer the big attraction that they once were. So how can things be turned around? To help answer that question, I've been joined by Andrew Ayers, who is a committee member at Irby Bratoft Village Hall in Lincolnshire. In the space of just a few years, the hall has witnessed, a real rejuvenation, and it's once again serving its community really well. Andrew has kindly agreed to share with us how this has all come about. Hi, Andrew. How are you today?
Hi, Johnny. Yeah, thanks for having me on. I'm very well, thank you.
Brilliant. Now, Andrew, before we get on to talking about the transformation of your hall, tell me first of all about your village and the local area there.
Yeah, sure. We're basically a very small little village, probably smaller than a hamlet, but we're actually maybe about 7 miles from Skegness. It's a very quiet village. We have no facilities, no amenities. And the village itself actually encompasses, we call it 5 parishes, where we have one parish council that looks after 5 parishes.
Yeah.
And we're very lucky that Irby is part of that. And obviously Bratoft is our next adjoining parish, which obviously is part and parcel of the village hall.
Okay. So it's a hall that kind of serves two places, really.
That's right, yeah, Irby and Bratoft.
Hence the name, yeah.
Yeah.
And you live in Irby, yeah?
I do, yeah.
And
yeah.
how long have you lived there?
We moved here in January of 2000, so
Right.
It's been over 22 years.
Yeah.
And it's a lovely place to be, place, very peaceful.
And community is really important to you as well, Andrew, isn't it? Why do you have that feeling of community? Why is it important to you?
I've spent my life working in the NHS, and I also had my own care company for many years and everything else. And that's when I originated from Warwick originally.
Yeah.
And I moved up here because my wife wanted a small holding.
Mm-hmm.
And so basically we got involved here. We moved here and eventually closed the business down and decided that we'd take a slower route to life. It's just been great. I've always been connected to the community wherever I've been. I used to be a town councillor, a school governor in Warwick and everything else. And for me, it's really important to me that, communities are there and we get involved in them wherever we can.
Yeah, and if you've got that background in the NHS and so on as well, I guess it'll be about contribution, yeah?
Absolutely. I've always found it very satisfying, let's put it like that, to be involved and play a part in a community wherever I can.
Wonderful. Now, unfortunately, your hall there kind of lost its way a little, didn't it, a few years back? Is that fair?
It is, yeah. I originally joined the Village Hall Committee about 20 years ago.
And that's when it all started to go downhill, yeah?
No, it was doing really great guns. And then things change as they do. People move on and things like that. And then committee members sort of came on board and really there wasn't anybody on there that had the energy and the willingness, if you like, to step outside their comfort zone and make things happen. So sadly, the village hall really did decline, and many events had been cancelled and activities had been cancelled, and it was a sad sight to see.
And once that gets like that, it's difficult, isn't it, to kind of bring things back? People in the community then lose their enthusiasm as well for the whole and everything.
Absolutely. I mean, people, obviously since we started again, I mean, people obviously said to me, I just didn't want to go down there. There was no atmosphere. There was no fun. You didn't even necessarily feel that welcome when you went in and things like that. And it was very, very sad to see.
So what happened that began to kind of change things around?
Well, we were very fortunate. There was a couple that live in the village, Billy and Wendy. And Billy had been invited onto the committee by the old committee, basically to take over running our community-run village bar. And he's full of enthusiasm. Him and his wife are both full of enthusiasm. And in bearing in mind, they are probably about 70. They are absolutely want to see change and everything else. So they sort of approached me and said, look, we know that you were involved in a hall in the past and you got things done. Would you consider coming back on and joining us? So I said, well, if they'll have me back up, I will, And we had an AGM and things like that, and didn't go off actually that well to start with. Most of the old committee resigned, which was a bit awkward, and they were left with 3 members of the committee. The secretary that had remained on, she sort of contacted me and said, what do we do now, So I said, well, call an emergency AGM and we'll get the word out to all the residents and see what we can do. So that's what we did. We had an emergency AGM. We had a full house of residents at the village hall. And at that point, we elected 13 committee members, which I think is the highest I've ever known it, onto the committee. A lot of those being new people that have only literally had just moved into the village of the beginning of July last year.
Yeah.
And we were very fortunate that they sort of put the hand up reluctantly. And, it's like never go to a committee meeting, because if, very good chance you'll get voted onto a committee.
Yeah.
And so that's what we basically did. And we were really, really fortunate because every single member on the committee had just this real positive attitude, what can we do? What can we do to get the village hall back up and running again, And I was actually shocked by the positivity of so many people.
Yeah.
And to be honest, it really did make my day. I was really, really chuffed. Obviously, then, of course, at that point, COVID hit us.
just when things are starting to look good.
Everything started to go, and COVID hits us, so we had to close down again. And that basically put everything on hold again, really, for 2 years. But as soon as we found that we were allowed to reopen, we'd actually obviously put everything in place we needed to put in place regarding COVID rules and regulations. And we did, and we opened up again. And it was initially a slow start, as you can imagine. People were still very, very wary about going into environments with other people and things like that. But no, it really did start to pick up. And of course, as restrictions were lifted altogether, if you like, then it's been amazing. It's been amazing.
Yeah. So what does the hall look like now? How is it being transformed? What are the positive kind of tangible elements that are there now?
Well, we've actually built a stage at the village hall. We've obviously we had whatever you can imagine with COVID, all the necessary bits and bobs that go with that. But we've also managed to upgrade and improve all the equipment there. I mean, obviously, like many village halls, we received the COVID grant.
Yeah.
And we use that money extremely wisely to, because of many years of basically let's mend it, let's not replace it attitude. We actually went out there and we replaced equipment that was desperate to be done. So everything is now fully working. Everything's looking great. So the stage, we've got new lighting gone up. We're actually in the process of replacing the lighting with LED lighting now. And it's, we've got a big notice board, a big 8x4 notice board on the wall, which is where we show all our events. And that board has been full ever since.
Fantastic. And you've introduced some new activities. And in fact, it's fair to say you've been experimenting a bit. Is that fair?
Oh, always. I mean, we've been fortunate because I got the job as the sort of dealing with the social media and organising events and activities at the hall, which is something I've done in the past. And I like to try new things. I like to try out new ideas, see whether or not they'll work. And we've obviously looked at the idea of having a casino night, which we did do a number of years ago, a James Bond theme, and everybody got dressed up. It was wonderful. So we're aiming to do that again. We have introduced, we've been very lucky because one of our new committee members is a crafter, Hayley, and her husband Trevor. They do crafts. So we have a regular craft event at the hall every Tuesday evening or every other Tuesday evening. I've introduced a men's mental health group.
Yeah.
And we've got taekwondo going on. We've got yoga going on. We're just about to start from the 6th of this month, weekly line dancing for beginners lessons. I did try that, and it didn't go down well. I kept crashing into everybody. So I sort of sat there. I'm going to have another go, but I thought, oh dear. I've got two left feet, obviously.
Yeah, and it's funny you're saying it didn't go down well. That's kind of been the attitude, hasn't it, with these activities, is that you haven't just dismissed anything at the committee stage. You've whatever ideas people have come up with, you thought, well, okay, let's try it, run with it.
Yeah.
If people like it, then we'll do it again. If people don't like it, we won't do it again. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we've actually said if it doesn't go down well the first time, we won't dismiss it. We may leave it a year.
Yeah.
And then we'll give it another go.
Yeah.
Obviously tweak how we ran the event and see if we can make it better and make it more accessible and things like that for people.
Yeah.
We actually held our first village fete in 5 years. And we were amazed by the amount of people that turned up. It was quite a small event considering, because we really didn't know how it would go. But we had the village hall filled with crafters. We had, obviously, the usual bouncy castle, free bouncy castle for the kids, vintage games. And there was lots of things. We had some classic cars and things like that. And we were really surprised on how many people came out and supported the event.
Excellent.
We're trying lots of new ideas, and we're not dismissing anything.
Yeah, and this well-being and wellness support group for men in the community, that sounds interesting. Tell me a little bit more about that. Yeah,
well, I myself suffer with mental health. I had a breakdown in 2006.
Yeah.
And, I'm obviously recovering, but I'll never be 100%. But I find it very hard to, communicating with other people.
Yeah.
And I was talking...
You're a man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I spoke to somebody, and they sort of passed me on to a very nice gentleman, and he said, "We run some groups. How about we help you set up your group in your village hall?" So we do it twice a month. We the bar is open. No, that's not a compulsory. We do free tea and coffee, and we get the pool table out, and we've got the dartboards out, and
the bar will always help to loosen the tongues, though, I guess. Yeah.
One of my phrases, the bar's always open.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's actually, it's going. We've had a few men in, but it's trying to sort of explain to them that, we don't sit there talking about mental health. It's really a way of men getting together without the wives, without the partners, that they may be able free and have a chat about anything. And should mental health come up in the conversation, then we can direct them, if needs be, to the right people to help them and support them.
Yeah. So you're trying to create that comfortable atmosphere which men can eventually reach together after a certain time has passed, and various almost pointless conversations have to take place first.
Absolutely, yeah. Men are terrible at expressing their feelings and their emotions and things like that. Yeah. And I think we need to create places like this where they can feel comfortable and free to maybe say something or talk about something.
Wonderful. I think
it's very important.
Yeah, great initiative, Andrew.
Yeah.
Well done with that. And overall, what's the reaction of the community been like to how things have transformed there?
We've had so much positive feedback. We've done a couple of surveys with the villages to gauge their feedback, and the top one being the friendliness of the committee and how nice the environment is at the village hall now, and how the fact we're putting on so many events and things, and events are getting really, really busy.
Yeah.
It's been absolutely brilliant. Very, very positive with the residents. Lots of people who said they hadn't been to the hall for years, and they've started coming regularly now. So I'm just thrilled, and I know the committee are as thrilled as we are to see people returning to the hall and enjoying what we've got for them there.
So what's the secret, Andrew, for you with a change around? What lies behind this new success?
I think it's having a committee that are positive.
Yeah.
I think it's having people willing to do something. I've always said that if you're on a committee, you're not there for yourself, you're there for the community. And if you're on the committee, you've got to be prepared to do something. If you're not prepared to do it, don't be on the committee. You know, it sounds a bit harsh, but it's true. You get people that come on, well, it's just I'm on the village hall committee sort of thing, and that's not what it's about. You've got to be prepared to put the hours in and do it. We're all volunteers. None of us get paid anything at all. We do it because we want people to have a facility that they can use and enjoy and talk about, and things like that. So that's to us what it's all about.
Yeah, no, I think that's really important too, Andrew, to be honest. It is that word that I used right at the beginning to describe your kind of way of contribution, isn't it?
Yeah, you've got to be prepared to give up your time. And if you can do that, that's great. It's not a job. And, sometimes the committee say, well, I really can't do this event because I'm doing something else. That's absolutely fine. You've got a life outside the village hall, But everybody's just prepared to step in and do whatever they can whenever it's needed and make an event work,
Yeah, but it's about investing that time and energy. And right, I think from what I've seen from successful village halls, it all relates back to the level of activity from those sitting behind it. So terrific stuff.
Yeah.
And with that in mind, I'm also really happy to say that the entire committee there at Irby and Bratoft Village Hall have been nominated for our Wonderful Villages Unsung Hero Award this year. So congratulations to all of you, Andrew, for that.
Thank you very much. I mean, we really appreciate that. Really do appreciate that.
I think it's fantastic. It needs to be recognised, when people generate that positivity for the community and invest that time and energy. I think it's also so important and so helpful to the local community. So as I say, congratulations.
Yeah, we all need a pat on the back occasionally, don't we?
Yeah, it's kind of it's not why you do it, but it's always nice, as you say, to receive that every now and then, definitely. And that does, of course, mean that your hall is in with a chance of winning £1,000 as well, which would help make things even better, I guess.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, we're doing everything we can at the moment to keep the costs to a minimum, because we know that everybody's going through the credit crisis at the moment. Money's tight, times are hard. So wherever we can, we're just not putting our prices up. We're keeping them low. We're keeping everything affordable. And the whole committee have said that, if anybody in the village feels they'd like to come to an event but they can't afford it, they just need to speak to one of us and they'll come free of charge. If they come on a Friday night, because we do food every Friday night, if they want to come down, they just can't afford it, just have a quiet word with them in the committee, and we'll make it happen for them, I think, we've got to be
it's
happy,
really warm to hear. And there you have it, breaking news, folks. Irby and Bratoft Village Hall, the only place in Britain where the prices aren't going up.
Absolutely.
Tremendous, terrific. Well, thanks, Andrew, for coming on and talking us through, how you've managed to turn things around there, the hall. It's nice to hear something positive amongst all the doom and gloom.
Yeah, and thank you, Johnny, for having me on. I mean, I just love talking about our village hall.
And good luck with the award.
Thank you ever so much. Thank you.
And that's it, everyone, for this episode. Keep submitting your entries to our Wonderful Villages Awards. There's 5 awards altogether, each with a prize of £1,000 for your local village church or community hall. You can find more information about the awards on our website. Many thanks to our headline sponsor and specialist insurance provider, Allied Westminster, for making our podcast possible, and whose services you can discover more about at villageguard.com, and to online booking system provider Hallmaster, who also sponsor our podcast and can be found at hallmaster.co.uk. You've been listening to the Village Halls podcast, a unique listening community for Britain's village, church and community halls, and anyone interested in the vital community services they provide. We'll be back again soon with another episode, so please visit thevillagehallspodcast.com to subscribe, sign up for updates, link through to our social media pages, and to find out more. But until the next time, goodbye for now.